Hey, good early afternoon. All right, August 2nd. All right, so we start a new month tomorrow. I want to go over just one sector, and it was the number one sector for the month of July, and and looking for maybe some more room to the upside. I gotta say, I mean, it's the most volatile group. Okay, it definitely is the most volatile of the group, and that's why I picked it. All right, so we're gonna watch on. We're gonna go through some energy names. I'm looking at crude right now, up $2.13 on your slash CL. All right, so kind of moving there a little bit here on the overnight side. All right, trying to come back up here, but up $2.13. Right now, it is up 2.52% on crude. All right, so higher than where we closed, folks. Okay, so crude looking to take up another little move here, about $2 and change. All right, so two bucks and 13 cents. All right, so a little better there. And then we look at XLE. XLE coming up on the overnight as well here now. So we've been moving up here. I think we trade for a little while and then we kick back on at 6 o'clock our time, 7 o'clock Eastern time, and then we'll get some more feeds, on what's going on the overnight business. And we know that there's a lot of garbage in there too. All right, just not a lot of liquidity. So, but XLE moving up higher here now, 60.24. All right, so when we look at it on the daily over here, we're going to be higher here this morning. All right, tomorrow. So unless something changes here overnight, we're going to have a little gap coming up there on XLE. All right. So like I said, number one group here for the month, and still kind of bringing it back down here. All right. So we'll see on that. We'll see how things go there. All right. All right, so we talked about that. We talked about XLE. Let's check out OIH. OIH. All right, OIH now. You guys are seeing the month here, right? So you got the month, the week, the day. You got the 4 hour, and then you got the 1 hour. All right, that's how I got it stacked up this morning. All right. So OIH, coming down from the month a little bit, starting to peel off as we can see. So it was this week that went up here and got to that 401 area. Right? We got to the highs there on this week, and then they kind of brought it back in there, so that brings you back into this 380, 385 area right inside here, this 380, 385 area right up in here, 384. All right, so here's where we lie on OIH, and that is a 3-3 week. All right, so I call that an expando. And what could happen, you could definitely get another one, but you're going to be stuck inside. So you're probably going to have to make a move to the higher side, and then see if they can break and bring it back down again. We'll see with the drillers. We still have, when I look at I still see some red continuity all over the place on the dailies. All right, so and you got your previous month was a 2 month down. So when we talk about full time frame continuity, we talk about everything, and what do we see? There's been a lot of red, right, to the downside after when the World War first started to move here. All right, so this is the beginning of our year here. So as you can see, you had that big move that made up and then came down, and now here we are stuck inside. All right, I'm going to show you that on the month. It's better because you can't see that quarter. So it was the 2-2, all right, that made the high here, and now here we are with a 3-3 going in, all right, to see what this next week comes in. So we're looking to be opening somewhere around 385 unless something crash happens over the next day. All right, so we'll see there. All right, OIH. And OIH now, when you talk about OIH, we talk about the drillers, right? We talk about Halliburton, we talk about Schlumberger, we talk about HP, we talked about, there's four of them right there that are pretty good. And we'll take a look at those, right? So Halliburton now, all right. Halliburton, what do we got here on the weekly? You're hammering back up on the weekly here on Halliburton now, all right? So a little bit better there on your week, coming back up. It is red, all right, and you had a downer, 2-2 downer week, all right. So we'll see if the drillers have kind of come back in a little bit, as you can see, because the month, the month has got the hammer down right now, kind of coming back down. I'm sorry, shooter coming back down on this month, all right? So we'll see. Halliburton here was up 61 cents. It looks like it's moving up a little bit here. All right, so we'll watch Halliburton. We'll watch Schlumberger, SLB. SLB, we're looking at, when I look at Schlumberger, the first thing I look at is the month has been giving it up. All right, so month been coming back down, and what was that high? 53.17. All right, so that's the high there of the month here, coming off of that now. All right, so we finished the week kind of stuck in the middle for the most part, a little indecision in there, not really telling us anything on this two down. All right, so we got the 3-2 down, but the month has been taking a hit, and now you're going to be inside on Monday, okay? Because remember now, Monday we're going to have a new month. Okay, we're going to have a new day, obviously, and a new week. All right, we're not changing quarters anytime soon, but I will be doing a little thing when we get to the halfway point of this month, and then we're going to do like this halfway quarter thing, and then see where everything lies, and try to give us some guidance to try to go into this third quarter. Okay, so we'll see what happens there. All right, so Schlumberger, again, peeling off on the month. That's what I see. I think that's what's important for me to be most important to be looking at that one. That's what I'm looking at on Schlumberger. Again, and I can't follow 1,000 stocks. HP, you got the same problem coming off the highs now. So it wouldn't take much to turn around to get these things back up. So we keep that in mind as well. All right. So you do have a hammer that goes up on the weekend, HP. All right. And that's a decent hammer. It's not my favorite kind of hammer, but it's a hammer. All right. So coming back up here, we'll see what happens. That one's still red. All right. We had the quarter coming down. We had the green, red, green on the quarter. All right, so we'll see what happens. I'm looking at the smaller time frames right now on your daily. Was a day up, decent day up here. All right, we'll see if these are kind of chopping here though. So there's your 4 hour now starting to come back down off those highs at 34.83. All right, that was right up in this area here. All right, so HP. We'll see. We'll see, right? We talk about the drillers. All right, so I could show you precision drilling too. This one's a wicked one. Kind of moves around a bit here. I like that 212 back up on the day. Okay, I like that for sure. Coming back up. What's the one thing that we've seen so far is we've seen months that have kind of given up a little and a bunch of hammers that are coming to save the day, it seems like. Here's another hammer coming back up on precision. Again, not my favorite, but it is a hammer coming back up, and then you got shooter down on month. So we got a little conflict coming down on precision drilling here. All right, with the shooter coming down and the week trying to come back up. So we look to see coming back inside. Are we gonna start to move back up to the upside, or are we gonna sit tight and do nothing, or are we gonna make a break to the downside? And these are the choices that we're going to have. All right, so precision drilling, shoot her down with the week coming to try to save it. Okay, and we know we're going into the first week of a new month. All right, EQT, EQT, EQT. Nice hammer coming up on the month. All right, these have been good, and RRC's been good too. Range Resources, both of these stocks are good. I'm going to go through this RRC next. Um, 2-2 back up on the 4 hour right now after a 2-2-2 kind of must. I'd go back to the highs at 54.78 here. All right, 53.70. Got a nice 3-1 setting up for a 3-1-2 up on that one. And if you get that, then you get that move back up to 54.81, and then you get back up to the high of the month, and then you see if we can start to take out some magnitudes to a higher level. All right, so let's see about that. All right, we'll see about that. All right, EQT, and then that RRC, the one I just mentioned there. This one's moving very nicely too here with the 2-1-2, very much like the EQT. These two kind of hang out together. All right, so 2-1-2 up on the day here. 4 hour gapper upper. Crude's higher this morning. It's never going to end. We said this thing was going to be a couple of weeks. It's 5 months now. Okay, 5 months since we started this business in Iran. All right, and so we'll see. We'll see how everything's going to shake out. But I don't see it ending anytime soon. All right, so 2-2 back up here on the weekly now. So going to have some sheer brawn to push this baby up. So I would on this particular stock month is good, so I'm going back to the daily and say, okay, this is what can start to move things here. All right, we'll see about that. Okay, so Range Resources moving nicely here. Just look at your magnitudes. 41.31 is your next move to the upside. All right. And we'll watch the energies. Okay, we'll watch it. We're not going to be jumping into anything. Okay, gonna let a couple of days go by. All right, and then we might have an idea. I mean, even then, we still might not even have an idea from there. All right, so RRC. I like that. I like what it's doing here. It's full time frame continuity to the upside. It looks like it wants more. All right, so we'll see on that one. That one's holding really, really good. Devon, DVN. Okay, DVN, and remember too. Now, if energy reverses, it's going to be big news. Okay, so change will happen fast. So be aware of that, and that's why we'll have our stops in if we're buying any of these things as we're moving up. We definitely want to be protecting each other, especially because this is the most volatile group that we have. All right, so Devin, real nice weekly hammer here coming up really, really good here. I got not too much on the overnights, a little higher, a 2-1-2 higher on a 60. All right, coming back there on that 2-1-2 right there, as you can see. The quarter's good. You're inside two. You peeled off a little bit on the week, so Sneaky Pete's going to get in there, and you're going to be opening somewhere around here. We'll see if that can go into force and things start to move back up to the upside. Energy, okay, it was up 13% for the month, guys. Can you smell the inflation? Can you? 459 in Chicago. I just got some gas this morning. 459. I don't know where you live, but post it, man. Post it. Tell me where you're at. All right. So Devon Energy, we'll see there. Let's just speed this up a little bit. Phillips 66 here now. This one now, I think a little bit of exhaustion risk. This thing has really made a nice move to the upside here. I'm laying. Maybe we can get back up to 216.24, but I do believe. I mean, we're up high on the quarter here. We're up high on the month. We're sitting at the highs of just about all time highs here too. All right. So this is Phillips 66. All right. So this has been moving very, very good. This one I would be like a little bit more cautious. Okay, you do have full time front continuity. Yes, you can keep going. You can go into exhaustion risk. Yes, you can, but you got to protect. Okay, you got to protect, and you're going to run out of magnitudes to go after. Shell's the same thing here. All right, Shell takes the big 2 week up. I mean, this was a big takeover there. All right, and you got this big outsider month. tells us that things can reverse. All right, but this is going to close now, and Sneaky Pete's not getting any room in anywhere here. Shell's going to come in tight. All right, so more room to the upside, 94.90, provided that snooze comes out and everything changes. Okay, it's happened. What? How many times have we had peace treaties? Like 50? All right, something like that. All right, so we'll see. Shell. All right. Um, WTI is tied right into that crude that we talked about earlier here. Nice week. Okay, you're inside month, and you're trying to take a 2-up. All right, so what's it take? Get to $4. Okay, 33 cents or so. All right, so that would be the target you'd be looking for if crude starts to move back up on the WTIs. You're really buried inside on the quarter heavily, and you're pretty much stuck inside that month as well. All right, so we'll see on that WTI. We looked about OMH. KMI, Kinder Morgan is another one. I think Kinder Morgan is a driller as well. Kinder Morgan had a nice day up after a big move to the downside down here. All right, and now there you go. We got up to 32.29. I'm seeing some exhaustion risk here coming up, but this is just overnight. So when you get into real time, it's going to be completely different. All right, but coming back down here on Kinder Morgan, so we'll see. Nice hammer. That's not a horrible hammer on that month, on that weekly. All right, KMI. I mean, don't they look like they want to keep going? All right, TS. Tenaris is tied into crude heavily. This one is hard to trade. I will tell you this one. I do like the hammer. I like the 3-2 with the hammer. The month is pretty stout, hanging in there. Be nothing to get back up to 58.93. That is about $2 and change, though. All right, so Tenaris. We'll see if that one can make any moves from there on TS. That's going to move directly with crude. Apache. So Apache, what do we got here? Nice 2-day upper. All right, 2-day upper on Apache, and no hammers to be seen. I got a shooter coming down on a 4-hour, so watch out for that. That could come back in a little bit of force and start to bring us back down a little bit, but pretty stout on the big time frames right now. We're holding up pretty good, right? Up 13%. Energy. All right. Are we going to get another 5 or 6 or 7% another month? If it continues, we will move. We will go higher. All right. So Apache, Valero. Valero's another one. Exhaustion risk up the yin yang. Got up to 320. This thing has been a rogue mover for a big time here. I would not go running after Valero up here. But if you're a cowboy and you think it's going to 350, then I say to you, my friend, protect, protect, and protect. Okay? This has really made a big move here. I think it's a little pricey for me here right now. That's my thoughts. Chevron had earnings. They weren't good, but the stock still did good. I think they beat the estimates, but they missed on revenue, and she ends up having a good day. Like she might have reported on Thursday. Okay. So nice hammer coming back up on the day here, and you got an inside week here that could go either way in here. But Sneaky Pete, you got that room. You're going to get in there. It would be easy to take that 2-1-2 back down if things start to go the other way on crude. All right, and to see the other way on the news goes, because the news is going to be constantly changing, and who knows if we're getting accurate information. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens. All right, so Chevron, there you go. Occidental Petroleum, Warren Buffett's baby. Nice hammer here. It's moving up nicely. The quarter's good. You're 2-2 up. 59.03 is the next move to the upside. I know there's another one in there, but I think I got to go to this guy. 59.03. Little bit of this and that over here on that 60. But that's just overnight business. So we'll see if Oxy can just triangle out the month when they get the new month inside here somewhere. All right. Well, where are we at here now? 5707, right? So yeah, we're going to be opening right around in here somewhere tomorrow. Occidental. So okie dokie, okie. Nice hammer on the week. Not bad. Not bad. All right. Peeling off big time on the month. Okay. So this was this move here. All right. We were where? 95.90, 95.90. Okay. And then we came to here, 90.72. That brought us to here, 90.72. Even coming a little bit lower inside there. All right. So here's where we lie now. You made the move back up. They had the wherewithal to buy all this business up, and then it just turned south on us and got the 2-2 back down. So here she is. We'll see. She's going to be right back inside this area, probably going back inside again. All right. So Oki, we'll keep an eye on it there. Again, that's what I keep an eye on a month on Oki. All right. Williams Brothers, WMB. Here's another one. The Williams Brothers, beautiful hammer on the week. Like that a lot. Um, I hate the month. You're stuck inside. You're red. You're indecision. You're not doing anything. I've been chopping, 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 and breaks and goes chopping, chopping, chopping again. Probably more chopping. All right. We'll see what Williams Brothers can do there. All right. Fang Energy, FANG, Fang. Fang Energy, I like the 2-2 month here. All right, not bad. We had a really nice hammer coming up on the week here again. We say, are you noticing all these hammers on energy? All right, they all start going into fours. Look out. Fang's coming up on the 4 hour better here. All right, so Fang looking good here. And I think there's room to grow here. I wouldn't say I would. I'm gonna call out exhaustion risk when I really see it, but it's got to be really extreme. All right, I don't want to call it out too much. I don't want to take you out of a trade that you want to be in. But I'm gonna call it out when I think I see it. All right, so Yuko, nice hammer on the day here. Take another one up here, right? We already got crude up this morning here, up 2.52% on crude. This is all tied right into American crude. Same business here, so we'll see what happens there. What else do we have here? Okay. All right. So Yuko, let's see there. All right. I'm almost done. All right. Yeah, I'm just about done here. ConocoPhillips, COP. Again, one man. This one's moving. Like a Valero. But it's got room. It's got room to the upside. 128. 2-2. So you got nothing actionable right now on the bigger time frames, but you got this big outside month here, and you're going to be coming right inside here at 120.48, somewhere in this area here. We're looking to take that possibly a 3-2 back up and see if they start to move. If the hammer stays down and the bombs keep going, then they are going to keep going. All right, so ConocoPhillips, Enphase, this is it. I swear. All right, EMPH. Shooter coming back down on the 60, so you a little exhaustion risk there. I see it coming across the board here. We had some buyers that tried to push it up a little bit, and they sent them back packing, and they're both all coming back down right now. Enphase is down 212 for the month. This thing is heavy as hell. You're inside on the quarter, and you're buried inside. No hurry in this guy. All right, no hurry at all. It chopped up and it broke. Tried to get going. Got that big 3-1-2. You didn't get the job done, man. You needed to get up to 39.63. You did not do that. You failed. All right, so maybe look for that. Then you go look for that 2-1 day, and then give me that 2-1 day back down again. All right, that one's looking pretty crappy. All right, that's it, man. A little chatter here. Apple, it's really all over the road. We picked it up at the end of the day. On Friday, we made some money on Apple over here on the Discord. We were trading Apple. Um, One of the ones that I'm going to leave it with this because I think, start thinking, trouble. Um, but I'm looking at MAGS. Okay, MAGS is the ETF for the Magnificent Seven. We were in this one Friday. Okay, this was a nice day. Okay, so the mags, that's a 2-2 up. Now the quarter is nice. All right, and the one thing I don't like is that the fact that the month is stuck in the middle, and I mean stuck in the middle. Okay, it's not a good place to be. You don't want to be stuck in the middle with JJ. All right, 2-1 stuck inside. Nice hammer coming up here on the week here. All right, so this has been a bit of a move here. I would say maybe a little bit of a pullback. I think we definitely want to buy this one on weakness, okay? Because I'm looking at and I got to go through them. All right, so Meta, right, had earnings. They weren't good. We gapped down, and we're 2-2 back up. I think this goes higher. Okay, I think Meta found some cash. All right, so I look for this to fill this gap relatively quick. What is relatively? It was relatively quick. Maybe a couple days, maybe a setback day. All right, we'll see. All right, heavy down on the week and heavy down on the month with the outsider. All right, I think this gets better. All right, Meta, that's in your Mag 7. Amazon blasted. Okay, I hope somebody had hold it over earnings. Um, this is a pie in the sky. We're gonna wait 3 days on this guy. Okay, this is gonna come back down. All right. But this was really good. I mean, they had good numbers, la, 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 la. It doesn't matter. We see these sectors move around so much. They're moving around faster than I've ever seen them before. So Amazon actually starting to fall off a little bit here. So it's just, I think, some exhaustion risk for sure with the gap up when you think you're going to keep moving here. Uh, Great month here and a big outsider on the week, and you're gonna get some sneaky Pete room inside there. And we'll see what Amazon brings the new month here. Now it's pinned up at the highs of the month, and now we got to see. It's going to make a decision. Do you start to advance? Do you take a day up and then puke it all out? You know what I mean? So I think that Amazon, I'd be super patient with this right now. Just I'm going to wait 3 days and see how she does. And if she goes 2-2 up, big deal. She's going into more exhaustion risk that we're looking for anyway. That's what we're trying to find, right? We're trying to find that. So we don't want to be the suckers that are out there, trying to figure out where things are. Let those guys go do the hard work. And then we get a trail. Then right? We can leave some pie nest, leave some popcorn. All right. So Amazon again, little pie in the sky on that one. So I'd be a little careful there. Tesla. I don't know, man. This is the one that this is the one. This is the one wild card that I have that I'm so like garbagey. Look at the month. All right, look at the week, and you try to find. You got to hammer it up here. You're going into a lot of, bad weather. The weather up here is not that great. Right? Not great. It's a little cloudy. All right. And here's your daily with that gap down. So the first thing you got to do is fill that gap. So you're going to have to get back to 370 at this point. This is the only one that I think might be the weakest in the Mag 7 right now. All right. I think this one might just be. Google trying to get the act back together here too. Finally, it gets the month right. All right, so you hammer back up on here, and you got a nice 2-1 setting up here. I don't think she runs away with anything here. I think she's still got a little bit of troubles in here. All right, this was a nice day. This has been a nice move here, and this was a kind of a gapper, I guess. Um, So I don't know. I mean, I like it. But I think a little lower before we start to move higher on Google. All right, but the Mag 7, I think as a group, I think they're doing pretty solid. I mean, really, Microsoft is what really picked it up, man. 2-2 up on the gap or up. You didn't see it. Now we'll see if Amazon does that, right? Amazon might do that, right? We had that day. Now we see if we have that 2 day up. All right, so we're going to be watching for that. If Amazon starts to really move here and get some steam going on, I don't think I'd still chase it here. All right, so Microsoft, really, really nice move here. 2-2 up. Getting harder to break, man. All right, you got 2 up on the month now. All right, and you get to a point where you get to be too big, and it's just like it's hard for them to break them. All right, so Microsoft is the champ. All right, with the earnings and everything that they came up with was beautiful. Move to the upside. I talked about Apple. I talked about Microsoft. I talked about Tesla. I talked about Google. I talked about Meta, Amazon. I got one left. The one I don't like so much, Nvidia. All right, back up to $200. All right, way too fast for me. You puke. If you don't pull the bottle out of the baby's mouth, it will just continue, and then they'll puke. All right. So I like this hammer though. It's pretty decent. All right. I just the month just doesn't. You know, this is what I really want to look at. This is where you should watch if you really want to buy um, Nvidia. Then look at the year. All right. It was up to 236, guys. All right. That's your first move right there. 212.40. All right. Right now, can we get to 212.40? This is going to be hard to get out of right now. Just in this little area here on the weeklies. All right. You're going to have to rise above all this. And then you're going to have to still deal with all of this. All right. So, and I don't think NVIDIA is an issue where they need to bring it back in. Um, I just think there's some exhaustion risk in it on this move that came up too quickly here. So I'm just waiting for some time. All right, I do not like that month at all. All right, that's it, man. That's all I got. I can't believe I talked for 32 minutes. All right, you're probably not going to listen to all of it. I hope I get a little bit of it. All right, so see what happens, man. Tomorrow we're back at it. All right, we'll see if energy's already up this morning. It's already up. All right, so we'll see what tonight brings. And remember, news, news, news. All right, and you snooze, snooze, snooze. All right,